Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new episode of Keep Swinging. I'm your host, Matt Stucko. Today, man, we have such an extraordinary guest. He's just an absolute boss. He is living a life of happiness. He's following his dreams and he's just living with purpose. And that's what I love about him most. So he was a former Major League Baseball player, but now he is an artist and a great one at that. Micah Johnson, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Oh, it's good to be here.
We're going to introduce you a little bit to the audience and for all the viewers and listeners out there, but just let people know where you are right now. I mean, this guy's an absolute grinder. He's probably been up since 5 a.m. and he works his butt off, and that's what he's been doing his entire life.
Yeah, I'm in New Hampshire, cross over the border, live in Maine. So it's a little cold up here, no heat in the studio, about 30 degrees outside. But yeah, I came up here in about June. Once COVID and everything is going down, man, it's just like I was ready to get out, man, to just create. So I came up here and I'm in the woods. Woods during the day, by the ocean at night. I'm just hanging out, man. My family up here. I come in here, kind of escape. And ever since I came up here, man, my whole art career has just been flipped upside down just because of, like, I'm just locked in, man. No distractions, man. I'm just trying to make art and that's it.
Dude, you're right. I mean, like, everybody at home is going to learn about you today and just, I think, really feel inspired by the time this interview's done. And I want to start with back in the day where you grew up in Indiana. 3 or 4 years old, you knew what you wanted to be when you grew up, and that was a baseball player. That's what you told your parents when they asked you. What was your upbringing like, and also, too, how influential were your parents with your career at such a young age? I know that you had gone through a lot of difficulties, but just share a little bit about your childhood.
Yeah, I mean, my parents were great. They always supported me whatever I wanted to do. Baseball was never like the thing that they forced me to do. I just loved it, man. I played baseball every day. Like, I can't. There was probably very few days out of the year that I was doing something that wasn't baseball related. Since I was really little, man. I think I could name the whole starting lineup for the Cubs when I was like 5. It was just my passion. My parents just kind of supported me through that by just different sacrifices they would have to make. And obviously travel ball is mad expensive. So being able to play at that high level, it had come with some sacrifices, man. And they always made it happen. And it was always my goal to make sure they didn't have to pay for college or anything like that. So that was kind of what my focus was on. I ended up going to a private school for high school. Very expensive, man. But I got some help there. And I still, my whole plan with baseball was just to make sure that, they sacrificed for X amount of years just to make sure they weren't having to sacrifice anymore. My parents are, like I said, crazy supportive, man, of art now. Like, whatever I did, they flew out. I think my dad flew for the first time in 20 years it wasn't to a game. It was to my art exhibit in Los Angeles. So it's like, whatever I did, they're going to support me, man. And I think a lot of parents need to be like that, because it seems like everybody's just focused on my kid needs to be doing this and doing these trainings every day. And it's like, no, man, your kid is going to play if he wants to play, just make sure you can provide them opportunities.
And those life lessons that you learned from your parents, I mean, they stuck with you throughout your entire life. And still, even to this day, we just started this interview off saying that you're up in New Hampshire, you drove 30 minutes to get to your studio. It's freezing out. You need to go pick up a heater. There were times where your dad would be driving you to practice or to the gym, and it would be early. It would be 30, 40 degrees out. And the car situation, you guys had no heat, but you learned from a young age through him that whatever your goal is, you need to do whatever it takes possible to get there. And you're doing that right now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my dad never had a new car. It was always had rust on it. It always it was like $400. And he did that because he realized he'd rather put that money towards stuff for us, me and my 2 sisters. So immediately I realized the sacrifices he was making. Like, he wasn't getting a car. It was literally a couple $100 every single time. And then it would die, and then he had to get another one. And my mom did the same thing, It's all about sacrificing for the betterment of somebody else, I think. It's kind of where they find their joy. I see my dad, he talks about it today, but I can see that he has some pride in that, that he put himself aside for all these years, and he sees his kids happy and pursuing their dreams. And it's now that I'm a dad, I kind of feel that same obligation. It's I can be in all these museums in the world, but the most important thing is to be able to help my daughter or whoever kids I end up having to follow their dreams, whatever it takes. I don't need much, I just, like I said, I'm in a studio, no heat. I'm too cheap and too I don't know, too busy to like even have the heat guy come out here. If I just said I'm gonna get heated this morning, it don't bother me, man. I like that. I like working in like adverse situations because it makes me kind of like feel like have like a competitive edge. Like I always like when I hit at night, I'd go hit at like 2 in the morning, like 3 in the
Hmm.
morning, like in college, because it always gave me that competitive edge. And like when I'm working in the cold, it just I don't know, psychologically it just gets me in the gear.
Dude, that's what I love about you most. You're just an absolute grinder. That's how you were when you were a baseball player. You played for almost 10 years professionally. 1 year, you led all of professional baseball in stolen bases. So here we have this individual with just the most drive that you could possibly imagine, absolutely humble and such a great foundation. And you were able to find success in baseball and you got to the big league levels. It really wasn't until what 2016 when Dave Roberts brought you up in front of the entire clubhouse and just had such a life-changing experience for you. Can you just share with us what happened? I've heard you say it before, but for the listeners and the viewers out there, just such an amazing story right here, where you really discovered this passion that you have for art.
Yeah, basically, Dave is such a people person when it comes to it's a player's person when it comes to being a manager. And I had just gotten traded over to LA after spending my whole professional career in Chicago with the White Sox. So it was kind of nerve wracking because growing up and like in baseball you always see the Dodgers and like all these star power and all these star names, and in Chicago we didn't really have that. So I kind of always just felt comfortable in Chicago, and I always got to be like treated nicely because I was putting up numbers and performing, so I was comfortable. But then I go to LA and it's like these guys are 9-time All Stars, like a blah 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 blah. And so he called me to the front. And I was just nervous, man. I was like dreading this the whole like spring training, and he had made people like he would always have the new guys say what they want to do. Then he paired them with some of his like veterans like a Kershaw or Utley or somebody to say go do this with them or go do that with them. And I played piano growing up, and I thought it was gonna be weird if I said piano, and I didn't want him to like wheel a piano in there because it's something Dave would do. It was definitely wheel a piano in there and play the piano. So right before that was like a paint and sip class, like like everybody does on date night. And I was like, this is fun, man. Like I like painting, and that's like first painting I'd done. Everybody does like little stuff, but I think it was like a watercolor scene or something. I was like, I think it was in my mom's house. So I said painting, and he was like, great, you're going to do a painting of Maury Wills for the team, and you're going to present it at the end of spring training. And me and Maury had a really good relationship. Like we always ate lunch together, and every single day Maury had to teach me how to bunt. Like it was just like he had to listen. Like we know how to bunt. But so I spent the whole spring training making that painting. I think I got like watercolor paints from like Walgreens or something. I didn't know what I was doing, and it was pretty bad. And I had a bunch of teammates come up to me like after I presented it and were like, yo, man, this is really good, man. Like you got a lot of talent, blah, blah, blah. And I think I was just like naive. I didn't know what art was. I thought art was, art subjective. Like there's no bad art. So I thought they just like thought I was good. And I kind of just rode that wave, man. And a couple months after that, I had an art exhibit at Dodger Stadium, which I think was the first art exhibit at that stadium. So I think the lesson to be learned there is just like when you see someone like hustling or someone doing a lot of work or like grinding, like obviously they're passionate about it. So just encourage them, man. I don't care if it's good or bad. Like nobody's good at overnight. Like it's going to take years of like failing and work to be good. So like just give them a word of encouragement, man. You don't have to like be judgmental or anything like that. Don't hate on them or anything. Just because you never know. Like look, like my art career, I believe, has superseded my baseball career, which is kind of crazy because, like you said, I did lead the league in like stolen bases, and I was like one of the top prospects and started opening day, and in that short amount of window, that 4 years, I mean, like my art career is a whole different level than my baseball career ever was, So it's just that little spark of confidence that they gave me.
Yeah, isn't it nuts how that old saying, coaches can either make or break you?
Yeah.
In this case, Dave Roberts essentially helped make you and also create you and leads you down towards this artistic path that you have been on that's been so successful. So here we have at one time a 3-4-year-old Micah Johnson who knows he wants to be a baseball player, and then he gets to the big leagues and he is a baseball player, and then one coach comes along and just discovers this absolute skill and talent that you have, and next thing you know, you're taking a completely different path, but again, a path of happiness, living with purpose, and now you're following your dreams as an artist. And there's an interview with you recently, and the guy said to you, he was like, yeah, I mainly know you as an artist right now. I didn't even realize or think of you as a baseball player. And I think you've done a great job of that during your artistic career. I mean, we even see it on your Instagram page. There's mainly just the art.
Yeah, baseball.
There is no baseball. And I think that says a lot about you and the way you've been able to grasp this journey that you've been on since 2016. So again, a 4-year-old Micah Johnson wants to be a baseball player. Then a 25-year-old Micah Johnson wants to be an artist, and that's what you're doing right now.
Yeah, I think it should. My philosophy is you have one life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And on this planet, there's so many different options and so many things to explore that, like, obviously you can't do it all in one life, but you can definitely try. You know what I mean? And I never wanted to be confined to a certain thing. Like, if I did one thing for my whole life and that's all I was known as, then I feel like I'd miss out on a lot, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think I started to teeter with that in 2016, which kind of like took my focus not kind of off baseball entirely, because I started thinking, you know, I did this for my whole life. It wasn't burnt out because I still had a passion for it. It's just life is short. You start getting older, so I wanted to do other things, you know? And I wanted to have a little bit more freedom to explore the world, to like learn things, you know? And that's kind of my whole goal was always be known as an artist more than a baseball player. And who knows, in 10 years, maybe I'll do something else, right? But,
yeah, you might play piano in 10 years.
Yeah. So my goal is in those 10 years, like, to be known as that, right? And that you're only going to be known for something if you're good at it, right? Like, so I just work like the same rate I worked at baseball, just because that's the kind of work level it took to get known in baseball. So like, I got that same work level again. I think for me, I enjoy the work more than the final result. You know, like if I finish a painting, okay, it's done. Like I ship it, you know, and I don't look at it, you know. But the whole process of it, like how it evolves, that's what I really, really enjoy. And then like same with baseball, like I always liked the really little minuscule stuff, like the 6 a.m. workouts, or like the practices, or like PFPs and like rundowns. Like I thoroughly like lived for those moments. Like the games, like I don't know, like auto mode for me. Like the grinder moments is kind of like the whole thing for me.
Yeah, when we first met back in 2017, that was one of the first things that I noticed about you. And when we were having conversation and talking about artwork, and the piece that I had done with Aaron Judge, and that was the baseball cut up card piece and turned into 16 by 20, and you really took an interest to it, and you could tell the small details of the way that the cards were cut and like where they were placed and all this other stuff. And I just thought that was really cool. And from that moment, I could tell that you had a passion for art. And also too, I had seen some of your artwork before, like Make Art, Not War.
Yeah.
That was an amazing piece. I absolutely love that. And in 2018 is when you stepped away from baseball and pursued this full time, which there may be a lot of people out there listening and watching this saying, wow, this guy was a professional baseball player. He had it all, or perceived to have it all. And he took this huge risk to go become an artist. But that's what made you happy. That was extremely therapeutic for you as well back in 2018. I think that's probably the most important thing, and one of the best decisions that you could have possibly made, because 2018 was a rough year.
Yeah, definitely it was. And then I think ultimately you have to be happy with what you're doing. Life is far too short to just settle for something, even if it's for a couple months or a couple weeks or a year, right? That's time. You don't get that back. So for me, you know, after 18, it really sucked not making the team out of spring training, because I know I put up the numbers to make the team, any team. And I said, you know what, I'm done trying to do things for and seek the approval of these people, right? And my efforts, no matter how hard I do, my performance won't matter. So like I just wanted to take control over my life, you know, and that's basically what it came down to. I just wanted to have control, and with art, I can have that control to say what I want, do what I want. Like there's no like person there that I'm seeking their approval, you know. Like I think everybody's guilty of it too. Like even when it comes to like even artists, but you know, everybody, like you're always trying to seek that approval on like social media and like, you know, likes. Basically, this summer I said, I'm done seeking approval. Like, everybody wants likes on their art. Basically, I just said, screw it, man. I'm making what I want to make. And that was the best decision of my life, because now, like, we sold out my first exhibit in days, and now there's like a long waiting list for my work. And it's like, and I'm painting what I want to paint. Like, I don't care what you think about it. Like, it is what it is, So like, I think people really feed off that I don't know, like that personal approach to things. They can tell if you're genuine or anything like that.
You've done a great job of funneling those emotions from that 2018 season and up until right now of having a voice through your artwork and expressing yourself. And like you said, creating what you want to create.
And I think it's important that people understand the power of art. Because I think art is very therapeutic when you're just doing it for yourself. Obviously, when you start getting into the business side of things, it gets very stressful, because you're talking about money, and whenever you're talking about money, it's stressful, right? But like, if you just realize that, like, I just want to make and create and don't think, some of the most therapeutic time you can have, because some people aren't that eloquent, or some people aren't comfortable, talking about their emotions. So you can make art like Basquiat, and no one ever knows what it means, right? But to you, it has a meaning. So yeah, it's important that people understand the importance of art. Like, you might not be artistic, but that's silly, because I think everybody's artistic. It's just, you have to really know yourself to make good art, I think. Like, and good art in the sense of like something very personal and something that, means something to you.
One thing that you do that I absolutely love is that you don't really look at social media to see what other creatives are doing, because that could potentially impact what you're creating yourself. And I think that a lot of people out there would benefit by doing that themselves, no matter what it is that they're doing. If it's something in business, marketing, creating videos, whatever it is, I think that's an extremely beneficial practice that you do yourself.
I think it's very important that people find out who they are first, and then create off of that. If you start trying to see somebody and emulate their style, that's when people say, I'm not creative or I'm not artistic, because they are comparing themselves. Or you get a lot of people who maybe are starting a business, or want to become an Instagram influencer, right? All these different things, but they're comparing themselves. So that immediately, whenever you start comparing yourself, you start diminishing your self-worth. So I think it's very crucial in whatever you're doing for yourself to not look at that. I think Instagram is a good tool for networking and getting seen, but there's a fine line of like not going on there and seeing what other people are doing, because that's them. They might be at a different stage in their life. You don't know them. So like, how can you try to compare yourself to them? They might have been doing art for 20 years. They might have been working on this business for 20 years, right? They might have had help. They might have, like, you don't know. So like, why look at a one by one picture and be able to compare yourself and make yourself feel like shit? That's silly.
No, seriously. And then during that time, at the end of scrolling for 30 minutes or an hour, you find yourself saying, wait, I could have been doing something creative and productive the last 30 minutes or an hour.
With your thoughts, like 30 minutes with your thoughts, like how many people just really sit there and just think, like nothing, right? Like doing nothing, just thinking. You start discovering things, On Instagram, you're not discovering anything. You're just being fed and like information, like a test, like you just study for a test. You're just going to retain it for just that time, right? Like, no, just your thoughts, identify who you are. And you're right, it's with anything. Like if you're content creating or media creating, like do something that like reflects who you are, and people are going to vibe with that. Like they already seen the other guy's stuff. So like, don't even try to like copy that. So what's the point of even looking at it? They already seen it. Like do something on your own,
One thing that I'm noticing with a lot of successful people is that their time management skills are very, very good. And something with yourself, and you had touched on this earlier, your daughter, beautiful young girl, you get to spend weekends with her. During the week you're at the studio, but how special has that been for you? How motivational and inspirational has she been towards your artwork? What's that been like, just having a child in the picture?
To be honest, it was really tough at first, because all I did my whole life was work. Like that was it. Like when I was 5, I worked, 6 work, 7 work. Like all I know how to do is work. So like when she came along, to balance that was really tough, because I wanted to work and work and work, but still try to devote time to that and have and energy to that. And I was started, even earlier this summer, I was working 7 days a week. And I get here at 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, go home at like 7 or 8, right? And I would do that, and I was realizing, that's not working, right? So what I just told myself, I don't work on weekends anymore. So I'm not working on weekends. And then I come in early because I know I know her nap schedule. Like she's gonna nap when she wakes up. She wakes up early anyways, but she's gonna nap early. So I'm not missing anything when she's asleep. So I rather sacrifice my sleep and get here early than come home and play with her at dinner time and all that. So just balancing that out. Like if I get here at 5, I still can put 12 hours in and still go home for dinner time. You know what I mean?
I love that. And also too, I love the fact that you do take off the weekends because you do get to spend that family time. And I mean, shoot, she's only a baby or a child this young once.
Right.
And also too, I'm sure it's great because, man, if that wasn't the case, who knows, maybe you'd be going 7 days a week, still burning out. And also too, not having that opportunity to take a step back from your work and realize like, hey, my brain needs a refresher, or hey, I need to adjust something with this work that maybe you wouldn't realize if you were just like head down 24/7.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Like when you're working nonstop, you don't get a chance to like reflect and make adjustments, right? Like in baseball, you have time to make adjustments because you don't hit for like an hour, right, in a game. So like you have time to think about, okay, I should have done this or this pitch. I should have looked for this pitch. If you're working nonstop, you're not going to be have time to make those adjustments. So for me, like my work has even improved because I go home on the weekends and like I think about it, like, okay, I need to do this. So then I go in on Monday morning and just boom, okay, I fixed it in half of the time it would have taken me because I would have just been working and like trying to like grind through it.
Yep.
And also too, I don't come in if I'm not in the mood. Like if I have a lot going on, like we're trying to buy a house or whatever it is, or busy's not sleeping, I don't come in because it's just gonna be a waste of time, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just an utter waste of time.
Dude, yeah, no, I love that. And again, so we talked about how it's beneficial to not compare yourself to others. Now we just touched on how time management is so crucial to success. And the third thing that I want to bring up, man, tell everybody about this pair of pants that you have because yeah, oh man, there it is. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're seeing it on the screen. If you're listening to this, definitely go take a look at it on the YouTube channel or on Twitter, on Instagram. We'll put this up. But this pair of pants is not just any pair of pants.
I mean, basically how these started was in 2016. I probably just was painting a painting like and spilled on them. Like they're from Lulu or something like that. So like they're nice joggers, but I just was making something. And then I just realized I got paint on them. So then fast forward to 2020, like these are the same pants I wear every day, like to paint. And so every single painting I've ever made, like is on here somewhere. Like it's pretty cool, So like maybe one day if I'm in the Broad or the Met or whoever, the Louvre or whatever, man, I die some crazy way. Maybe my daughter would be set for life,
No, it's amazing. I mean, what better way to have an awesome reminder of how far you've come as an artist, as a person, than those pair of pants, I mean, I'm sure there's times where, like you said before, you don't want to go to the studio, or hey, maybe you're in the studio and you need that kind of like extra jolt, and you could just look right down at your pants and you're like, hey, like, this is what I'm made of. You know what I mean? Like, this is me.
Yeah.
Like that, those pair of pants is a piece of art in itself. Like you said, it could be in a museum one day.
Like Nordstrom.
Yeah. Wait, so those are Lululemon though?
Yeah. Like I'm not the cleanliness, like the cleanest person. Like when I'm in that mood to create, I don't think about, okay, I got this on, I shouldn't make this. So like, I don't buy new things anymore because I know that I'm gonna go to the studio and just like start working without changing or something, right? So like even this hoodie, like I'm gonna change when I start working today.
That's amazing. Yeah, I was gonna say it's what is that, kind of like a cream type color?
Yeah, it's gonna get messy here. My studio's messy.
That's your own canvas right there.
Yeah.
Staying on the emotion topic with your artwork, one of your nephews, Elijah, when he was 4 years old, he asked you a question which has been a huge inspiration behind some of your current projects right now. Man, again, going back to how being artistic has been such a funnel for you and your emotions and having a voice. I think what you're doing right now is so powerful and just awesome. And I think that people are going to be talking about it for a while. But man, just this one question that your little nephew asked you has been kind of life changing in a way.
Yeah, and what when he asked, maybe for everybody that know, he asked if astronauts could be black, and which at the time I didn't know was like a very large sentiment that kids felt limitations on their dreams. Like I only know from personal experience, and when I was a kid, I thought I was going to be a major league baseball player. So like I didn't think anything of it. I'm sure plenty of people along the way said you need to do this instead. You need to like plan about other options, blah blah blah. But for me, like I just always thought that was what I was going to do. So when I heard that, it was like my first like real encounter with a kid that felt limitations on his dreams. Well, I mean, fast forward a couple months later, talking to another kid, he said he wasn't smart enough to be an astronaut. So I was like, okay, like how common is this like sentiment among these kids these days? So basically my whole mission now is just kind of really just inspire these kids, let them see themselves in like fine art, like, like everyday kids. A lot of my subjects are just real kids. And then also to create that astronaut had become like a symbol for like a dream. Becoming an astronaut is one of those things like it's becoming a major league baseball player. Like it seems very unrealistic, but people do it. So it's not that far fetched, right? Somebody has to do it. So like my whole mission is just to show them like nothing special about me. Grew up in Indiana, like that was it. Like there was I wasn't like some phenom. I'm not 6'10", 300-pound freak. It was just that's just what I just did it. So like you can do it too. There's no limitations. So that's kind of what my whole the astronaut helmet kind of represents now. It's like this unattainable dream, but I put it on these kids, and it's like, look, you can be this.
And Elijah very well could be, and so could so many other kids who see this because think about yourself. You knew what you want to do when you were 3 or 4 years old. Maybe now Elijah and another kid who's seeing this at 4 years old or whatever age they may be, now they know that it can be attainable, and you are painting such an amazing picture because now it's visual proof that, hey, this can happen. And it's gotten some great feedback. You even got a tweet from NASA. I mean, what more can you want out of people recognizing this?
Yeah, that was really cool, man. And kind of validated my whole mission, really, like that they respect it, they understand it, and even them getting the word out, it's been really cool. I'm just a conduit, I just put the paint on the canvas. I'm not trying to like reinvent anything or like be on a soapbox. I'm just trying to create the images that can translate across the world without needing to be translated. That's just what my whole mission is right now. It's just like God used my little hand, and I just boom. Like this is what this means.
It's so cool when you search, at least from my perspective, when you search some of your older interviews on like YouTube and you see Micah Johnson, the baseball player, and now I feel like I'm starting to know you more, not just as a friend, but as an artist, and it's just so apparent how much more comfortable you seem and how you feel. I mean, even again, like in interviews and stuff like that. And I just admire the fact that you have taken this risk of leaving one successful life and starting a new one. So I just want people out there to know that if you do follow your dreams and live with purpose and follow your passions, that can lead to such happiness, and I think that you're the perfect example of that.
Yeah, definitely, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, you have to be comfortable failing. That's first and foremost. Like, you got to be comfortable and know that what you see now, like what you see these paintings and, like the media and all that, that's not overnight. Like, that's years of failures, right? Like, I have a pile over here of like canvases up to my like chest that are failures. Like, I still fail. Like, so you got to be really comfortable with it. Like I got paintings over there that I worked on for weeks, and they're in the trash bin. So it's like, in order to reach that successful level and take those risks, you got to be comfortable with failing, plain and simple.
Yeah, and baseball's a failing sport, and that kind of sets you up for this right now. I mean, if you don't have that baseball background, maybe you're not as comfortable with that failure process. And you know how it is from creating so many different pieces of artwork. If you mess up, it could be frustrating.
Yeah, yeah. I really never get frustrated. I only want to put out the best stuff that I have. So like, I have a level of standard that I'm trying to get out there. I don't need, like, if I fail, I fail. But I know that if I refine it, so I did one the other day, right? And it was going really well, really, really cool concept. Sent it to my gallery director, and she's like, "This is amazing," blah blah blah. Next day, like we talked about, kept working on it. Done, like just done, like ruined it. And I sent it to her. She's like, "What happened?" And I was like, it's, the next one I do, like, will be 10 times better than that one. Like, I learned, keep it moving. No sweat off my back at all. And I think it's cool because her and I have a really good relationship, because she knows that too. Like, as happy as she was, that it was really cool and all of this, she knows that I'm going to do something better just because I needed to fail. Like, I put the limits on it. Now I could pull it back.
There's one aspect of art that I seem to, well, in my opinion, always fail at. And it's probably the thing that you get some of the most compliments on and maybe the best at, but your ability to really capture emotion and just detail in eyes.
Yeah.
Yo, how long did that take for you to get to that level of perfection? Because, dude, again, I know from creating artwork how hard that is. And it's just, I love it. I mean, I think that you should just have a canvas one day with just an eye on it, just a sea of blue.
I got one here. I was going to do. I was going to show you the secret. I think eyes obviously are everything. The key to eyes is really understanding your style. Like, okay, there's people that can paint hyper realistic eyes, right, with all the crazy details. Okay, so if you want to go look at those people, your eyes are going to be awful because you're going to try to emulate them, but they're doing something different than you. So, like, for a long time, I tried to do that, and I was trying to do the hyper detailed eyes. You weren't getting the same emotion from it, right? So then what I did was identify my style, and now it's kind of like second nature to me now when I'm working on the eye.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's just like, I know my style, know the composition of an eye, like most basic level, and then I just go from there. I mean, like, I can make you an eye right now in like a minute. It's just more practice and practice and practice and practice and practice. That's it.
Oh, it's amazing. So right now where you are in your studio, you went from 50,000 people watching you play a game that you loved as a kid to now just yourself.
Yeah.
In the confines of your wall.
Literally, it's not mine. It's just me in here. Every day. Every day.
And I think that the most important message that I hope that listeners and viewers get out of this is that do what you love and approach everything with 110%. And that's exactly what you've been able to do. You've defined character as what you do when nobody's watching. And no matter what, that's always been your approach. That continues to be your approach. And you are going to be creating some amazing stuff in the near future. And I know you said before that, who knows, maybe you'll be doing something else in 10 years, but I think right now in this moment, it's perfect for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. I think that that being by myself, and like, what's that? There's some phrase, it says like, basically, I mean, he just quote Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne said, real G's moving silent like lasagna, right? So if you're going to do something, don't be like broadcasting it. I just believe if you do something in like quiet, and then boom, here, like, this is what it is, right? And everyone's gonna be like, wow. Like, if you hype yourself up, you're always gonna leave people underwhelmed, right? But so I'm up here, I sit in my little space, freezing, and boom, you'll see something on Instagram, or like you'll see something in the gallery or whatever. And it's like, I like that better, man. That's what you're supposed to do, I think.
What would be your one piece of advice then for everybody listening and watching this when it does come to following your dreams and just pursuing something that means most to you? Especially people are afraid, because a lot of people out there who may be watching this are afraid to leave their current job because they're unsure of what can happen on the other end, or they're afraid to take that risk, or maybe leave that $200,000 a year job to go open up a pottery store, whatever the heck it may be.
You have to, yeah. Obviously, like my path is a lot different because I was able to leverage my platform from baseball to art and kind of have a little runway there, right? But I don't take that for granted. But at the same time, I work my ass off to get to that level in baseball. So I'm very unapologetic about it, right? Like I feel like I had some luxuries in the art world just because people wanted to have the baseball player that painted and some exhibits early on, right? So I get that, but I think the major takeaway is like when you have nothing, like when you like have nothing, that's when the best things happen, right? Like after I retired from baseball, Busy was being born, and I was like panicked because I was like, I was getting paid six figures for X amount of years, and now like it's been a year and I haven't made any money. Like the year she was born, I did a lot of risky things, like trying to discover what I wanted to do, and put a lot of money that none of it worked out, right? And it was stressful at the time, but what I realized was out of that desperation, like that's when I really discovered who I was and what I really wanted to convey and what I really wanted to do. So I think that if you're afraid to leave that job, you're not passionate about it, just you have to see, like you have to see yourself with your back against the wall, right? No backup plan, no options, because then you're gonna like turn to survival mode, and you'll be shocked to see what you do, what you can accomplish. You know what I mean? Like if you have backup plans, you're gonna be like kind of complacent. But you have nothing to fall back on. Like I don't know how to make a resume. Never made a resume. Never did a job interview. Never did any of that. So no college degree. So here I was in the real world for the first time in my life with a baby on the way. And I was like, damn. And I wasn't really selling any art, nothing. I had nothing. So like, it was like, okay, what can I feel like I created some really cool things from that desperation.
Dude, I got the chills, man. I'm sure everybody at home listening and watching this probably did too. And they're excited. And I'm sure you inspired a lot of people today. And I want you to continue to inspire and motivate the people. So how can people stay in touch with you? How can they follow you? Just shoot out all your different platforms that you want people following along. And guys, I promise you, you will absolutely love what you see from an artistic standpoint, from a journey standpoint. I mean, we heard a lot about Micah's story today. So I want people to stay in touch with you. So let them know.
Yeah, Twitter, Micah_Johnson3. Same thing on Instagram. My DMs are open on Twitter because like, you can always reach me. I'm very accessible. I sit in my studio by myself all day, so I really appreciate company. So.
All right, everybody. Hey, Micah, dude, you're the man as a friend, as a creative, as just an individual making a difference in the world. Thank you so much, and thank you for your time today.
Yeah, definitely appreciate it.
Thank you so much for watching that episode of Keep Swing. Man, we have so many more awesome guests on the way, and I don't want you to miss any of it. So please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, feel free to go back and watch past episodes. And again, if you subscribe to the channel, that is the best way to find out who we are going to have on the show next. And if there's a guest that you want on the show, I will do all that I can to have him or her come on. So please leave a comment. Let me know who you want to see on Keep Swing coming up. And also, too, feel free to leave a comment what you thought about the episode in the comment section below. Give it a like. And if you head over to Instagram, I'll be posting clips from all these interviews. Just a little daily inspiration. And there you can interact with me as well. Until then, have an awesome day and keep swinging.